This week, we add another 7-footer to the one-star guest list, straight out of Quebec, Canada. He's hooping in Gainesville next year at the University of Florida. Olivier Rioux.
We're 6 months away from seeing Olivier Rioux in a Florida Gators jersey, DK, but our listeners can go on 500level.com right now and get some of the best t-shirts out there of all the Florida Gators greats in the NBA. Bradley Beal, Trey Mann on Oklahoma City, Al Horford from the Celtics. So many Gators in the league, DK. All their shirts are on 500level.com. You can get 20% off with the discount code podcast at checkout. 500level.com. Let's go.
Bonjour, on commence avec le premier star. Have a good one.
Let's go! Yo, aloha for all of our fans listening in French Canada or in France, perhaps. Here you go. Les stars du basketball du Canada sont portantes. Jamal Murray, Lou Dort, Bill Wennington. Allez sur 500level.com pour votre honneur préféré. Utilisez les mots dépassés podcast pour bénéficier d'une réduction.
Wow, I'm gonna have to Google Translate that one. Can you say that again, DK? I need to get my app out.
That was so bad, bro. That was so bad. You really want me to do it again?
No, I mean we're one star, but that was
I
amazing.
felt like it started off semi-okay. Les stars du basketball. Boom, got that. That one started. Then it started just getting really bad. That was a little French though for you, Rip. Same read, just with some French.
I love it. Our French is best in small doses. I got like one word of that translation, so I'm good. But I'll Google Translate that after the show. But Olivier just came out with some French off the top there. We gotta be pleasing everybody in Quebec right now.
He's got a nice flow, Big Olivier. They call him Ollie. Oh, we're from Phoenix. We're from the 1993 Phoenix Suns team where we had Oliver Miller, one of the favorite Olivers of all time.
He was big in another way. He was large. He probably an Ozempic candidate back in the day if they had it, but very much a fan favorite in Phoenix. We love the big guys.
Very much, man. Great name. Love the name. Love having friendly Canadians on the podcast as always. Oliver Stone, another great Oliver, by the way, Rip. Now they're starting to come to me. John Oliver, that's a last name. It's different. Terrific. Also, pizza item. We talked about pizza a little bit with Ollie. A lot of fun. Got me thinking just a little bit, though, Rip, about the concept of we've had a lot of tall folks on this show, and I never put together a list or even thought of this frame. And since it's kind of the beginning of season 4 and a new season, opportunity to do a little reminisce, look back into the guests of the past just a bit and see if we stay true to our credo. We're 1 stars. We bring 5-star people on this podcast, like Olivier, and we try to get a little bit better. So I put together a list, bro. I put together a list of some of our top guests. I'll start with some smaller ones, and I'll go to the tallest. I think you'll be surprised. I'll include their height in the intro, but if you don't mind, Rip, I'm putting you on the spot. We're going to lead the podcast off with just putting you right on the spot here. I'd like you to maybe mention something that you remembered or enjoyed about that particular 1-star guest on that appearance. That sound good? That cool?
Absolutely. Yeah, let's do it. I mean, my memory isn't the best, but I'll give it a shot. I might, if I don't have an answer, I'll probably just start talking French for you.
I think you'd be surprised. I think that even me just looking at this got some memories going. We've had some amazing guests. We've had some amazing taller guests. Like possibly we could be in like a fighting's range of the top tall people podcast. We definitely are in the 1 to 3 percentile, I would say. Anyway, here we go. We'll start with 6'3". We'll start a little shorter. 6'3", great episode with Angel Reese, LSU.
First off, DK, if 6'3" is considered on the shorter side, you and I are both in trouble, especially me. But easily the most memorable part of that Angel Reese episode was that she officially confirmed her relationship with Florida State's Cameron Fletcher. They're still going strong, by the way. She confirmed that relationship and made it official on our podcast. I think we surprised her by asking it, but there's a YouTube clip out there that has a ton of views on it, and it's from our podcast.
Great memory. Breaking news. 1-star's breaking relationship news with Angel Reese, who's also balling. The basketball's been so good again this year. Shout out to women's college basketball. I think they're having their year. Keeping it going down the list, Rip. 6'5" Ish Wainwright.
Ish Wainwright, man, the most memorable part of that episode. He was a Phoenix Suns guy at the time, which is our squad. Now he's on Portland Trailblazers, but our guy comedian Adam Lamb got in there and he gave Ish a new nickname. It was named after that Oscar-winning movie. Do you remember what it was?
Everything, everywhere, all the time.
Everything, everywhere, all at once, and he kind of liked it.
1 star liked it, maybe 1.5 star liked it. We'll go back to the tape. You have to listen to yourself to the Ish Wainwright episode. I mean, I appreciate the comedian Adam Lamb went for it. I kind of see a swing and a miss. I don't think he was telling his family about that while eating chicken parmesan in Portland around the table.
It definitely didn't stick. It definitely didn't stick. That's for sure.
There's no stickage, not at all. Okay, 6'5", one of our most downloaded episodes yet. It was a great one. Talking about everything from church to smoking weed. Hope I didn't just steal your answer, Rip. 6'5", checking in at 6'5". Detroit Lions Hall of Fame receiver, Calvin Johnson.
Yeah, the thing that stuck out to me the most about that episode, obviously, like you said, it was one of our most successful episodes ever, but we got him early. He doesn't do a lot of pods. Actually just saw last week that All the Smoke just had him on, so we got him way before they did. But the most memorable thing I think about that is that we asked him about his relationship with the Detroit Lions because it was really fractured at the time. I think that was about a year ago now. And you fast forward to last week, he's on the sidelines, he's at the stadium, and they seem to kind of have made amends. And maybe we had something to do with it, DK. Who knows?
He's part of the renaissance there. He's part of the organization. From a culture standpoint, he's back and Detroit's back. We're going to talk about Detroit on the second half of this episode. Let's get into the 6'8" range. There's a handful of guys there. So we had Bismack. We'll pass on him. We had George Niang, who's actually 6'7", but he thinks he's 6'8". Let's go right to 6'9", Rip. AC Green.
AC Green. The most memorable part of that one for me was actually something we didn't ask that we kind of got heat for. Everyone wants to ask about him being a virgin until he was 40 or whatever. And we didn't even talk about it. We talked about a lot of other stuff, but we didn't talk about that. So the most memorable part of that for me was kind of a missed opportunity, let's call it.
Swing and a miss. Moving off the list, 6'10" is another number that we hit. We have a handful of guys. I'll pick one for you. But we have Luca Garza. We got our guy from the Seattle Supersonics, Detlef Schrempf. Great. Another good episode. 6'10", though. He was in Vegas. Sharif O'Neal.
Sharif, yeah. The most memorable part of that was talking about his comeback from heart surgery. He was on the G League Ignite at the time, and he's a couple years removed from having, I believe, open heart surgery, and as like an 18 or 19-year-old, so it kind of derailed his basketball career for a little bit. But he's the child of a really famous player. He's into music. He's got other interests. I'm not even sure he's playing basketball anymore, but memorable for him talking about having to go through such a crazy thing at such a young age.
Super relatable dude, Sharif. Taking us out of our 6-foot, Rip. We're going to move into the 7-footers. We have more than you think. Which just off the top of your dome, under over 6 7-footers on this podcast?
I'm going to say under. I would guess 4 or maybe 5 now with Olivier. I would guess 5.
We'll work through it here. We had Pete Nance at 6'11". Congratulations on the call-up, Pete. Recent call-up to where'd he go? Cleveland. Cleveland's taking all the Nances. They love the Nances. Enjoy. Watch that. Get your tickets in Cleveland. Here we go. 7-foot club. Dikembe Mutombo.
Most memorable part of that one for sure. It's always his voice, but it was really he did the finger wag, unprompted finger wag to one of your questions, and we got that on video, obviously, and we got a clip out of it. But anytime you can get Dikembe Mutombo to finger wag you when you're not on a basketball court is pretty amazing and memorable for sure.
We got fingered by Dikembe. He also loves coffee. He makes his own coffee. Check it out. 7'6". We're getting taller. 7'6". Taco Fall.
That's an easy one, and it's in my kid's bedroom right now. We read it every so often. Is his children's book. It's called, I believe, To New Heights. I'll edit this out if I'm wrong, but it's a story about Taco growing up in Senegal and how he got over to the U.S. through basketball. And just kind of inspiring to hear his story. And my kids always ask questions about it. They can't even fathom that a person is 7'6" So very interesting.
The Kelsey brothers, new heights. That cease and desist is coming for you, Taco. Rip just revealed it to the world. 7'6" club continues, bro. 7'6". George Mirasan, a great episode. What do you got from that?
The best part about that interview was when he told us that him and his son, George Jr., and I think there's another brother in there, I can't remember his name, but they play like ping pong or tennis. They play tennis in their driveway in suburban DC, somewhere in Virginia. There's two 7-foot plus guys playing tennis in the driveway. So if you drive by that, snap a picture, tag us, we'll post it for sure. That's got to be an amazing sight.
Dude, it is mine too. That's it. The Mirasan's playing tennis in their front yard together, and all 7-footers. And then topping the list, our guy, 7'7", the tallest teenager. It's in the Guinness books in the world. Our guy, Ollie, sitting at 7'7", getting ready to go to Gainesville, get his University of Florida Gators on. Big men do University of Florida pretty well. They do big men well. They do defensive guards really well. They love basketball. They love football. He's at IMG Academy, so you're staying right in the state, right, Rip? We're going Bradenton to Gainesville. Pretty easy commute. Enjoy this interview with our guy, Olivier Rioux.
Now joining the One Star Recruits podcast, we have a native of Quebec, Canada, a future Florida Gator, a current hooper at IMG Academy, and the Guinness World Record holder for the title of the world's tallest teenager. 7 feet, 7 inches tall, Olivier Rioux is on with the One Star Recruits. Thanks for hopping on with the One Stars, Ollie.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
We're happy to have you on. You grew up in East Montreal, and the city has had some really good basketball players come from there in recent years. Just some names off the top: Benedict Mathurin, Luguentz Dort of the Oklahoma City Thunder, Prosper from the Dallas Mavericks. I want to ask about Bill Wennington, though. He's another Montreal native. He was in that era that he won 3 NBA titles on the Chicago Bulls, Michael Jordan teams. You spent some time with him. What did you learn from Bill about navigating life as a 7-foot plus Canadian hooper?
You gotta embrace it, make it your own, take pride in it, and enjoy it.
Ollie, were there any daily lessons with Bill that he did? Is there any exercises that you took or any way that he goes about his day?
I would say like he iced his knee a lot because like he had like to go through any injuries.
Yeah.
And like he's very meticulous and in terms of like stretching and all that stuff. And I'm already like stretching, I'm pretty good, and icing, I'm pretty good. So it was really nice to see someone a little older, seeing them how they evolved with basketball, because he's like in training and all that stuff. So he's doing recovery. It's very nice.
But can you do the splits yet, Ollie? I know you talked about Victor Wembanyama doing the splits. Are you almost there?
No, I'm not, unfortunately. But I do have some progress making.
Let's go. How about that cold tub? You getting that cold tub?
Yes, we do have one, and I'm 2 weeks each day. You don't need it that much. Sometimes you do, but yeah.
You heard it here first from Ollie. Big guys, get in the ice bath. Get ice on that body. I love it, man. I love it. Dude, you're at IMG Academy. We hear all about it. We have Anthony Simons, who's in the league. We got fellow Canadian, Zach Edey, Armando Bacot. There's just a pipeline of great players that have came through. Very impressive. You have some really big-time recruits as teammates. We got Donnie Freeman. We got Kahani. There's a couple great big men. Give a shout out to one of your teammates at IMG who the world may not know about yet, who you think has a really bright future.
I would say Felipe Quinones from Puerto Rico. So he's a little out of every social media. He's big in this country, obviously. Just he's good.
Yeah. He's playing a point guard, shooting guard?
I would say both.
He's a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Nice, man. Nice. Yeah, we got to check that out. I love it. I love IMG giving love to kind of the other teammates. It's basketball, such a team sport, and you stand out. We're really excited actually about you going 2.5 hours down the road to where your home's going to be next year, University of Florida. Congratulations. You committed this fall. Dude, tell the Gator Hoop fans what they can expect from your game at the O Dome next year.
I would be a leader, vocal leader. I will be loud, and get in, get out, do the job.
Get buckets. I like that you said be vocal leader down low. Is that one of your strengths, you think, really communicating as far as, I mean, you can definitely have great vision at your position there. That's communication is key. You don't hear that a lot.
I would say it's one of the things I would like to do, and I'm progressing towards it, potentially, and that's what I would like to do. Yeah.
Dude, getting on podcasts and communicating is a great way to start. You do it, dude.
Right.
We're lucky to have you. You're going to be great at it. I love that answer.
Thank you.
Let's do a quick NIL game. Okay, we're pretty good at this. We're also kind of bad at this. We helped like some former guests, Rams running back Kyron Williams. Turned out he loved Chipotle, and we had a great idea about Chipotle. So here we go. Okay, Ollie, this could be good. This could be a flop. Okay, we'll see. Here we go. I tell a story about how I once ate 17 slices of pizza at a pizza buffet. Marco's Pizza. It's all over Florida. They have a pretty good buffet. I've been. First question. How many pieces of pizza could you eat in one sitting?
Which like
Slices.
we're talking about like 4 or 8 or divided by 4 or 8.
We'll do just divided by 4.
Okay. I would say like 5 or 6. Yeah.
5 or 6. I mean, I could see you eating some good pizzas. If you could make your own pizza for a chain, what would be on that pizza?
Good question.
Maybe a poutine pie. I've never seen that.
Poutine, no, I wouldn't see that on pizza. But good. I'll say pepperoni and like mozzarella, like just plain and basic.
Pep and cheese. It's the best. Pep and cheese, man. We'll sell. That would be a great deal. Marcos, great deal. Okay, here's another one. Gainesville Holiday Light Company. Hear me out, Ollie. It's a growing company. They design holiday Christmas lights that people put on their houses. You could easily help out without a ladder. Save them some money, bro. It's a good growing business. Good idea or bad idea?
Good. Not bad. Not bad.
Not bad? Okay, I'll take not bad. Okay.
Throw out your ladder. Use Ollie.
Use Ollie, bro. It's just like, yeah, dude, that's the tagline right there.
Those guys are probably making like $100 an hour there, so pretty good deal, I think.
It could work. Okay, I think about golfers. Do you golf at all, Ollie? Are you a golfer?
No, but I did good Top Golf because we're in the area and all that stuff. So sometimes,
Yeah, you're an athlete. You probably have a swing. Well, they need you, bro. Golf Galaxy. It's a big golf store. You could be their 6'5" and bigger ambassador because if you're 6'5", you need bigger clubs. And then if you're 6'9", you actually need bigger clubs. They don't even sell them at stores. It could be a perfect match for golf. Maybe Top Golf and custom golf clubs. That's my idea. That could be a flop. Here's my best idea, okay? Delta, American Airlines, they actually sell gift certificates. I don't think a lot of people know about this, but what a great gift idea to give to all the tall friends and your tall parents. Maybe you have tall friends who book a vacation, and then you get them a certificate so they can get an upgrade. And you're the face of that, Ollie. Good idea, bad idea?
Good idea, because we struggle. Because like, if we travel as a family, we always has to like either be in all the front rows, like A1 or whatever, and then if like we travel just me alone, I have to be in the bunkhead.
Yeah, it can't happen. We need to upgrade you every time, every opportunity. Yeah. You could be the face of this because you know what? I didn't know about it. I think that'd be a great gift. Dude, the sky's the limit though for NIL. You have a great personality. You're a wonderful basketball player, man. And I know it's going to be a great ride for you down in Florida, bro.
Thank you.
Let's get to some serious stuff here. We end every interview with the segment we call 1 star to 5 star. Not really serious. We're 1 stars trying to get better with advice and tips from every guest we have on this podcast. So I want to take the time to ask you a few questions that run the gamut on a 1 to 5 star scale. Let's say 1 being the lowest, 5 being the highest. Outside of basketball, you're really interested in I know art, science, and also the environment. As your platform grows bigger and going to college and beyond, what's one, let's call it a 5-star idea that you hope to use to help make a difference in an arena outside of basketball?
I would say YouTube. Just created content. Doesn't really matter what it is. Just do something sometimes here and there, and sometimes environment, obviously.
I think that's stuff that kind of fleshes out, the more you figure out what you're interested in, the older you get, you can figure that stuff out. But you're
Yeah,
building a big platform, so we love to see it here. Your dad, I think you mentioned he's tall as well, 6'8". I believe he was a volleyball player.
correct.
We all know though that hockey is the main sport up in Quebec and all throughout Canada. I'm curious if you played hockey growing up and how would you rate your ice skating and slapshotting skills on a scale of 1 to 5 stars?
So I'm gonna go back to history right now. My brother played hockey. I played ice skating, but just artistic. So I was just like 1 year, not even like I shouldn't even say that, but just you gotta just do it for coordination or whatever.
Yeah, get your feet right. Figure skating. Could you do could you do any axles? Did you get one axle in during that time?
No, I did some fish.
Nice. Yeah, the fish move. Classic, Ollie. That's a good move.
The last one I did some like the last like 3 years ago, I got injured on an ice rink. So we're kind of avoiding that. So yeah.
Yeah, it's probably a smart move, but it does translate. I see how well you move on the basketball court, and it's really surprising to see a big man so fluid.
Yeah.
We know you can rebound and block shots. You block a lot of shots. But what's the let's call it the 1 star part of your game that you're working to improve on the most between now and when you get to Gainesville?
The outside, um, kind of dribble or like protect my ball when I'm dribbling. Kind of, yeah, in that region.
Cutting down on the turnovers, getting the ball knocked out, and that sort of. How's the shot looking? Are you is it just repetition? Are you doing a certain amount of
Um,
makes every day, or how are you working with that?
I'm working on free throws right now. 3 points are coming. They're not like 100%, obviously. But I am making them. I don't think it's going to be a part of my game. I'm pretty much more inside whenever I play. So obviously, like I'll keep the threes, and you never know, like a pop or whatever, short roll. You gotta be able to shoot whenever you want, but you gotta be consistent at some point in time when you shoot. So that's kind of where I'm heading, but not there yet. So yeah.
And we see with so many players, that's something that comes in time, and the more you work on it, the better you're going to get anyway. Last one here. You played for the U19 Canada team in basketball this past summer, and the state of basketball in Canada is so good right now. It's hard to believe that the country hasn't medaled in the Olympic Games, I think since 1936. But everything's looking up. We have the Paris Olympics next summer. The roster is stacked with NBA players. Jamal Murray, who you've met before, I know. It's tough competition throughout the world these days. But what is your outlook for Team Canada for this summer and heading into the future?
For Team Canada, I would say it's looking good. A lot of players, a lot of diversity in terms of high end and low end, and it's looking good. And we're sharing the ball. We already know each other from last year because we played some men's World Cup, so looking good. Yeah.
We know you've been a part of that program and will probably continue to be a part of that in the future. Everyone can go follow Ollie. It's at olivier.rioux on Instagram. Follow his journey at IMG this season and Gainesville next year. Ollie, we wish you the best of luck and thank you again for coming on with the 1 Star Recruits.
Thank you. It's amazing. It's really nice. Yeah, I like it.
Great job, brother. Thank you.
Special thanks again, DK, to Olivia and also IMG Academy down there in Florida. Amazing institution, facilities, everything. It's like a college campus. So Olivia is going to have an easy transition to Gainesville. DK, what's your best memory of Florida Gators basketball? I know the one that's at the top for me. What about you?
Well, the answer and my answer is probably going to be your answer. It's the back-to-back championships with Billy Donovan as head coach there. And they had a ton of players from those teams that I think made it to the pros that became decent pros. You think, is that correct? Is that yours too, Rip?
That's it. And I mean, just off the top of the head, I believe these guys were all on those teams. It's Corey Brewer, Joakim Noah, David Lee, and Al Horford. Is that right, or were one of those guys on a different year? It sounds like they're all on the same team from what I remember. Al Horford's still hanging around in the league.
Winston doesn't have it up in front of me. That sounds really right. Was Udonis Haslam on that team? Was that too long ago?
I think that was a little bit before that, but either way, I mean, those were the glory years. They're 12-6 right now under Coach Golden, and Olivier is going to come in there and have him back in the tournament. That's what's going to happen, DK.
That's what you got to do. Big money game, that college basketball. I was looking at a mock draft just yesterday, and I'm realizing that I don't know anything about college basketball. I bet you I could name off the top 10 guys for your rip, and you would get 2 out of 10 where they're what university or program they're going to. Here, I'm gonna give it a shot.
I'll bet
start
you.
just a couple.
I guarantee you I got more than that. I'm at least 50%. Let's go.
We've completely turned this into a question and answer pod. But I was depressed about the number that I knew, and I should. Only one that I knew of. How about Stephen Castle, Rep? What university? What school? Stephon Castle.
Connecticut.
1 for 1. All right. Rob Dillingham.
Kentucky.
All right. 2 for 2. All right. Good and sweaty here. Ron Holland.
G League Ignite.
Oh boy, that one looked just foolish. Alex Sarr. Can that throw you off a little bit? Alex Sarr.
He plays for the NBL in Australia. I want to say Perth.
He is a Perth. He's a Perthian.
I may or
so
may
even the
not.
top guy. I mean, I know Cody Williams. I've seen him on tape at Colorado. He's looking to be the number 1 guy. The guy that I heard of is this guy Matas, who I know we've been working on having on the show. Am I saying his name right? Matas?
Yeah, I think it's Matas Bazulis. He's G League Ignite as well. They got a couple guys that are in those mock drafts next year.
Yeah, so lots of ballers, but I got to get on my YouTube. I had no idea about Zachariah Reichner, man. So I got to get on my game here.
These are all guys, DK. You know I'm on the hunt for guests on One Star all the time, and I may or may have not sent an email to the Perth Wildcats media relations in the last 60 days to get Alex Sarr on the pod, DK.
That's how you know the first future Washington Wizard. He'll be working with Sammy Gelfand if the fate has it, as the league would see it. But we're gonna have lots of movement around with the trade deadline coming up in the NBA pretty soon, and that will all change. But reminder, tap into college basketball. Still a lovely morning activity if you're on the West Coast. Basketball games are starting at like 8:39 in the morning. Get them on. Watch a little Indiana basketball, maybe some Florida. That George Washington versus Rhode Island game, captivating. Seton Hall playing St. John's, very interesting. St. John's is back. Seton Hall's a little bit back. Anyway, so this is my college basketball nibble. More to come, because I do enjoy it. It's just every year it's hard to get reacquainted with what's happening, because the Blue Bloods aren't the Blue Bloods anymore. Lots of teams end up coming together. Usually the teams that win it all, Rip, are the teams that we know about when we're talking about the championship. But along the way, the Sweet 16, sometimes those Elite 8, those teams that you don't know about, it's nice to know early. Betting's changed it all. Betting's gotten people a little bit more energized, but this is time to flip the switch for me. So I'm going to be waking up. For me, I could wake up at 5 in the morning and pop on a little Purdue, Wisconsin.
And there's a good chance that while you're watching one of those games, you'll see someone that's been on this pod, DK. That's one of the cool things about our show is we don't have an exact niche for a team or a city, but we have people from all over. And if you pop on and you see a Colorado game, you'll see Cody Williams out there. You want to watch some women's, you'll see Angel Reese out there. You throw on an Austin P game on ESPN Ocho, you'll see our guy Hansel Emmanuel, who we had a couple years ago. So that's the goal of this pod, DK. And it was cool going down memory lane earlier in the show and talking about some of our past guests. But we're out there, man. And a lot of it's 6 degrees of separation can always relate back to one-star recruits.
Yeah, you can play this game at home. I do it all the time. I'm watching a sports game. Kimmy comes in. She doesn't want to watch the sports game. I throw out the guy's been on my podcast and that guy's been on my podcast. And suddenly change your perspective. Try it, one-star listeners. Throw it out there a little bit more. See what game you're watching. Baltimore Ravens, football.
Our guy who's coming back probably this week for the AFC title game, possibly Mark Andrews. He was on this pod a couple years ago. Great interview with him. That could be the X factor in this game. Are you picking Ravens or Chiefs in this one? It could be an epic game of the ages. I'll tell you that much.
Yes, sir. This is it. This is how the NFL has written it. The NFL playoffs are down to the final four. Everything is set just as nicely and gently as we wanted to sub out the Lions, probably. And you could have flipped a coin, but sub out the Lions. Every other piece makes a lot of sense for the NFL. I'm feeling like the Lions have the Ravens versus Lions Super Bowl feel to it. I'm just going on instinct and gut, and I had a handful of high chews already this morning, so my gut is just eating itself with soy and sugar high chews right now, mango flavored. But my gut is like showing me that this just makes sense. Ravens versus Lions. I can see it in my head. I can see it when I say it. It's gonna be something that's gonna happen, Rip. I think when you said Mike McCarthy's gonna lose that game, I saw it. This is something that I can also the signs are there. So it's a game that we didn't know that we wanted, but we really wanted. Jahmyr Gibbs is an X factor. He's the real deal. Jared Goff also has big stones, bro, big cojones. And more importantly, above everything else, they're doing this for the city. Remember the city factor? I talk about it a lot of times. I talk about it a lot of years. Funny enough, the Baltimore Ravens kind of set this precedent playing back in 2001, winning the Super Bowl. So I love Detroit and I love the Lions in the Super Bowl. So that's my pick, bro. That's what I'm going with.
That's interesting. This might be the first time in the history of the pod that we've had exact polar opposites because I'm going all red. I'm going Niners versus Chiefs in the Super Bowl. And I'll tell you why. I want to root for the Lions as much as I love teams that have never won before and I want to see them win. I think the fact that this game is on the road in San Francisco, and I think that they're going to know whether Debo's out or not beforehand. The Niners are, so they'll have a whole week to prepare without him. And I think they get those defensive issues that they had against the Packers. I think they'll get those fixed in the next week. It's not going to be a blowout, but I'm not picking against the Niners. I'm picking them to get to the Super Bowl again. And I'm also not picking against Patrick Mahomes. I love the Ravens. I love Lamar. I love Mark Andrews, but there's no way in hell that I could pick against Taylor Swift and Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. And all those rumors about Kelce maybe retiring, maybe him and his brother go out at the same time. There's no way he's going to do it if they don't win the Super Bowl. So I'm picking them to at least get there. So I'm going Chiefs versus Niners.
That's the missing piece. And that's why I'm saying this is going to be, for me, Lions Ravens, the game that we didn't know that we needed, but it's the game, and it's going to be a harder pill to swallow than the super sexy. But I think it will be a better matchup because you're going to get March Madness type feel out of Detroit and the Ravens versus you saw it even with Shanahan in the Green Bay game. He got out coached a bit. The energies weren't there until kind of Fred Warner and that defense got going. And it's the difference of the Niners don't rep Santa Clara. They're not doing it for the rich folks of Los Altos and Los Gatos and the hills of San Bruno versus the people of Detroit that the Lions are fighting for. Bro, just seeing Jared Goff continuously every press conference put on that Detroit Tigers hat, that's it. That's it for me. I've seen it. I've seen the picture. I've seen it in my head. So there it is. A little bit of it on the disappointing side. A couple podcasts ago, I mentioned that I was watching the Hard Knocks of the Miami Dolphins, and I wasn't sure what I thought of head coach Mike McDaniels. So I've caught up on the last two episodes. A couple weeks after they've already been kicked out, it's kind of painful to watch that show when you know that they lost because losing in the NFL is just really shitty because it's such a win or lose and high and low type of game. But the verdict is in on my cool or cringe decision, Rip. The verdict is in. Are you curious?
The way you're setting it up sounds like you're a little disappointed in Mr. McDaniel. I know you were a big fan about a month ago. What happened?
But the final label on Mr. McDaniel is that he is cringe with a small touch of cool. Where he's cool, I'll tell you. Here's his cool points for me. Exposing your ankles. I think it's a great look. I think more men should expose their ankles. You got good ankles? Let them be exposed. I also think it makes you look faster. Like you can run faster, and Mike embodies that too. He feels faster. You see him running off the field there. So exposing ankles, great look. I've always appreciated it, and I still do when I see other people do it, males in particular. I'll roll up the sleeves too on my shirt. I'm not afraid to do that. So cringe, move into the cringe. His meetings. First couple were okay. As we got in about week 5 and 6, it kind of seemed like we got in a inside sales executive to come give the rah-rah speech. It started just getting a little bit cringy, and like he maybe Googled a couple ways to give pump-up speeches to NFL teams along the way. So cringe. His meetings, another cringe. His locker room etiquette. He's an in and out guy. That's fine. You're little. You're going to see a huge big man. There's probably some ego things going in, but the in and out doesn't work with your personality. Either you're gonna lead the cheer or you're gonna hang around there. You can't say captains do your thing. You got to finish what you started. Okay, you got to finish it. And then Carl Anthony Towns not finishing what you started over here. So super cringe there. And last but not least, his player interaction. His player interaction on field, at practice, glimpses of cool, some small glimpses of some one-liners that seem to work, but overall completely cheesy, and it feels ripped more like a relationship with a ball boy to a player interactions that McDaniels has with his player, kind of a prodding and poking, kind of like, can't catch me, I'm going to catch you, but you can't catch that pass. You got to be a good leader, but you can't catch me. Like, total cringe. So final take on my guy McDaniel. I think he's fine to be an NFL coach. I think as he ages, he'll be a little bit like wine. I think he'll get better. Those glasses that he's trying to wear right now don't fully work right now. 2 years from now, when he's got a little bit of gray, I think they'll work really nicely. We'll see how long he can expose his ankles. That's a young man's game. You get a couple of varicose veins, you got some mosquito bites, ringworm around your ankles. You can't expose those things. Ashy. So it's a young man's game there. So we'll see if he can keep it up. But final take, verdict is in. He's cringe with a small touch of cool.
That's interesting because when you talk about longevity with a coach, and especially an NFL coach, like the longer you've been around, the harder and harder it is to come up with like fresh material and fresh speeches. And it's probably like a stand-up comedian that's doing the same set 5 nights a week in different cities. You're doing it over and over. And to come up with new stuff has just got to be tough. So you said he aged like a fine wine, but that's going to be the challenge, I think, for him is to be relatable and cool and have those press conference highlight moments all the time going into year 5 and 6 and 7 if he's still around. So
he's very much on the stand-up comedian line of, can you continue this trend of all this stuff, versus a guy like Belichick who chose to do more of the maybe like the one-liner style of reclusiveness. So when he does hit you with a good one, he'll do one every 4 press conferences. But when he does it, it's a fucking great one. So lots of ways to go about this thing here. And I think they like him in Miami. It's just, I don't know if it's a short thing. If he was 6'7", would I feel differently? It's a good question.
The self-deprecating route is a good one to go though when you're 5'3". So, but it might get old. We'll see how long that lasts. Do you have a 1-star moment of the week, DK? What happened to you this week that was just ridiculous and bad in your life?
1-star moment of the week. Well, I can't control myself from 7:45 to 8:45 p.m. It's the witching hour. It's the witching hour of snacking. 7:45 to 8:45 p.m. The way my body chemistry works, my circadian rhythm, if you will. And sometimes I can't stop till the box is gone, man. And I've got another nemesis. It's got to be on the do not buy list, do not fly list anymore. I just love them with a passion. I think it's a combo of things, though. But the Andes mints packs, I put them in the freezer. They come with about 28 mints. They're the ones, listeners, if you go to the restaurants and after you eat your food, you get a toothpick and they have the little mints and you get to open the green package like a little present, delicious present with a touch of mint and to quench your breath and your sweet tooth after a fine meal. They're delicious. But they sell them at the grocery store and they're like so affordable, Rip, and they put them right by the checkout and I put them in my freezer. And once I pop that top on them, I'm like, I'll just have like the restaurant. I'll just have one after dinner. No. 7:45 to 8:45. Latavius Murray. 28 of them, bro. Down the drain. 1-star moment of the week.
Wow. CJ Spiller, Latavius Murray, 28 of those, huh? Ooh. Were you feeling it the next day or can your body handle
I was cool. I did good water, but I was cool. There's something about those. I think it's the mint. Maybe the mint has a probiotic twist in it, though. But Andes, holy shit. And they do a peppermint one during the holidays. Sweet Lord. Doing something well in the Swiss Alps with those Andes.
maybe try 56 next time. Test your body's limits, man. You might be I won a donut eating contest in Laughlin. You might have an Andy's Mint trophy coming your way if you can push your limits.
Never know. Nice CJ Spiller, man. Well done. What do you got?
Yeah, I opened up a big can of worms this week, DK, that's kind of come back to haunt me a little bit. A lot of people don't know about this that aren't in Little League, and I'm gonna spit some of the structural stuff that happens in Little League for you here in a sec. My oldest kid is 7. He's now in a division where they have an actual draft, which shocked the hell out of me. So they have an evaluation for every kid. Each coach ranks them. They come up with a draft order, and it's like a fantasy football draft with you're drafting human kids, 7 and 8 year olds on a team, 10 different coaches in this case. They go to a restaurant for 3 hours behind closed doors, and then you get an email the next morning with what team your kid is on. So I was privy to the draft. I'm on the league board. I wasn't at the draft, but I got a picture of the draft board when it was done. And the 1 star moment was I made the mistake of showing my kid this picture of the draft board. So he sat with my phone for about 5 minutes, analyzed it, and Wesley, he's a guru. He's a Mel Kiper, he's a statistician, all of the above. He's got a crazy memory. So the thing that I didn't expect to happen was the next day at school, he's going around telling every kid where they were drafted. And for some of them, it's great. His friend was a #1 overall pick. He was the Victor Wembanyama of Long Beach Little League. But for some of the other kids, it's he's telling them that they were drafted in the 10th round. So and that's kind of a problem with self-esteem and ego and bullying issues and all this. So that was my 1 star moment of the week. I'm hoping the book is closed on this and there's no more talk about it, but I got to keep that draft board away from him next year. By the
Determined,
way,
release your son's draft order, Rip. Let's hear it.
he wasn't the first pick, he wasn't the last pick. So he was a 7th round pick out of 12 rounds. So it seems like exactly where it should be. He wasn't overdrafted. He wasn't a sleeper.
Following in
He wasn't
dad's
underdrafted.
footsteps. Only upside in the 7th round. It's good clubhouse guy or huge ceiling. One of the two. Expectations are nice at that level. I think it's appropriate position.
Exactly. But it's just so weird to me that there's an actual draft of 7-year-old kids. I'll never get over it. At the many years we're going to do this, I'm not going to be able to comprehend it because it's just such a weird thing for me. But this is happening all across America, and any Little League parents know this already, but it's new to me. So
Get used to it. Even in our days, in the 90s, the good kids were moving into the neighborhoods with the good teams. There would be kids who would stay with a parent and change their address to get into certain schools, man. One high school, you go play volleyball at Corona del Sol. People would go move to get there early. Yeah, it's been a real thing.
It just feels weird with 7-year-olds. Like I always knew it was a thing as you get older, but with 7-year-olds, that there's just a weirdness to it. So that's just my thought on it.
You can still get Tyreek Hill at 7 and a lot of leagues this year, Rip. Lots of upside, bro. Lots of upside. Recommendations, man. Recommendations. By the way, did the Little League folks know that you are a podcast host, a world famous podcast host? Do they know this?
Some of them probably do. Yeah, some of them do. That's for sure. So I wear the 1 star recruits gear to practices and games on occasion.
It could be an angle to help them with draft stock. I'm just saying you could leverage if you want a little bit. Possibility of getting on with maybe, I was going to say Kirby Puckett, rest in peace though, Kirby. If somebody, Tony Gwynn, rest in peace, Tony Gwynn. Anybody at 500 level, maybe that could be a little leverage for a higher draft pick next year. If you had to play that card, Rip, you got to do what you got to do. You got to takes money to make money. NIL.
Yeah, we might have to be the Sam Presti of Long Beach Little League and make all kind of trades all over the place before the draft even happens.
And then on the flip side, we have moments of wonder and recommendations and things that we want to share with the world where we're just amazed by everything that is special and makes us smile. This week, a place that I didn't think that I would like. My only real experience with it has been quick in and outs, airport trips, and a particular video game on the Mac computer called Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego? And every once in a while, you'd have to follow Dr. Meyer who was spelunking in a great town of Honolulu. And I got to really experience Waikiki Beach, and I had a really good time there, dude. It's kind of like a San Diego in 1998 is what it feels like to me. Minus the fish tacos. of course. But we did a little basic trip to the mall. I haven't done a mall walk in a long time. This is an outdoor mall. I think it's the gateway between Japan and the United States here. So they have all the really nice stuff. It wasn't like walking through Fiesta Mall or any of your favorites, Rip. Scottsdale Fashion Square. The Grove in LA is still very nice. And actually, Long Beach has some nice malls too. There's still some nice ones, but a lot of them across the country are shitty. But it was nice to just kind of walk. Had a lunch at the Nordstrom's Cafe. Slept on in place. You ever been to a Nordstrom's Cafe, Rip, and had their French fries?
No, I can't say that I have.
It's the trick of feeling like you're very classy while still eating French fries and a mediocre club sandwich. It's just a mind. It's a great mind fuck to make you feel really good about yourself, and then go buy yourself some joggers so you can pull your pant leg look like Mike McDaniel. But my moment of the week was walking Waikiki Beach, man. Put it on your list, listeners. Go check it out. A little more crowded, little things, a little more to do, but more to do also means more activities for the kids and more activities for the spouse and your friends. So you can do exactly what you want to do. So Waikiki Beach, moment of the week.
Hey, it's a once in a lifetime thing for a lot of people in the world and that listen to this pod, DK. But you're living it every day, man. Every time you walk outside and you're in Hawaii, you could have a recommendation of the week. So don't forget that, man. Don't take it for granted. Mine is after that draft fiasco and all the nonsense that happened with that, I needed a beer, so I went to my trusted favorite, second favorite beer now behind Sierra Nevada, and I've been drinking it for a while, but I haven't put it out there on the pod. It's a Stone IPA. It's called Delicious IPA. It's from the Stone Brewery. That's the recommendation. It's a great tasting IPA. It's like 7.7% alcohol. I know you're not a beer guy, DK, but for at this point in my life, one of those gets me feeling a little good. And the real wreck is that it's about $15 a 6-pack at Target or Total Wine, wherever you're going. But Trader Joe's has it for $10.99 a 6-pack. It's less than $2 a beer. That's the real recommendation right there. We know I'm a value guy, DK. So if you go to Trader Joe's trying $2 chuck and all that stuff, grab some of this delicious IPA. It's a bright green, yellow can. You can't miss it. $10.99 a 6-pack.
$10.99. Get your dino nuggets there and your orange chicken as well. You get your dino nuggets there, you got to go to the real grocery store for those.
Nah, you got to go to the real store. They don't carry those at TJ's.
Well, you can't even fake the funk if you bring the kids the generic ones. They know so quick. It's not even they know. It's like built in to detectives of understanding exact dino. If you don't get the right brand from the right store, trouble.
What last night I ate 3 leftover nuggets that my kid rejected because my wife tried another brand. It's reality. I ate 3 nuggets that I really didn't want to eat, but I wasn't going to waste them.
What a pathetic loser you are, Rip. Rip's reactions. Hit the music. Adrian Griffin was fired from the Milwaukee Bucks. Assistant coach has the intern job. Doc Rivers' name's floating around the universe here. Rip, have you ever been fired? What was the job? And what was the situation for the firing?
Is there a difference between being fired and laid off?
Yeah.
I think so, right? Okay. No, yeah. I've never been fired. I got 100% success rate. I've been laid off multiple times, but I've never been fired. It's really amazing.
Unbelievable. Just a quick list on my list real fast so we can equalize with everybody else out there. Excel call center. Worked there with you, Rip. Got fired. Bowitos. Wraps and salads. A sous chef. Third on the line. Line cook. Not sous chef. Sorry, sous out there. Fired. Sakura. 2 days I lasted at a Japanese restaurant in Flagstaff, Arizona. Sakura. Just a couple off the top of my head there, Rip, for you. Rip's reacts here. All right, Rip, along the same note, since you're just a good old boy, never been fired. Ever peeled your shirt off in a public place like Jason Kelsey and chugged a beer?
No, I guess I live a boring life, DK. I would like to do it back in my 20s in Hermosa Beach on the 4th of July when I hung out down there, but I just wasn't in as good a shape as all those 5-stars down there. So I never had the confidence. I never was drunk enough. I just never done it. But seeing Jason Kelsey do it makes me want to maybe try it at some point.
Well, I have seen you do a stoled cold stunner to a bottle of Goldschlager and then try to pick off the gold pieces with your fingers and put them back in your mouth. So you have done some things. Rib, I'm not going to let you off the hook that easy. Nick Dunlap becomes the first amateur to win a PGA Tour in 33 years. He was 20 years old. at 20 years old? Rip's biggest accomplishment.
That's a great question. I have to go with thanks to my birth date, I graduated college at 20. I wasn't even 21. I graduated in May, and before I hit 21 in October, that has to be it. Being a college graduate at 20 seems like kind of a rare thing. When you talk about when I mentioned that it was at Arizona State, there's all kinds of jokes that go along with that, and probably like 2-year-olds could graduate, but I'm proud of it, DK. I'm not going to back down off that one.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think my biggest by 20 is I landed a 360 flip at Fuller Middle School. Landed clean, rode off. It was a beautiful day. 19 years old. Listeners, we appreciate you. Next week we're back. Keep this thing going. 5 stars on anywhere that you get your podcast. It's the best way to say thank you. Or just send this along. Maybe you know another person who's 7 feet. Maybe you remember the Angel Reese episode and want to send that to a friend. It always helps to send these bad boys off to people. We'll be back next week. Alla semana prochaine.
From the world's tallest teenager to one of the world's shortest running backs in NFL history next week. See you next week.
Peace.